Coming to you from Ventura, California, and the Strings and Things studio, this is the Strings Unraveled podcast. Thanks for joining us.
Hello.
All right. Hello. Hello.
Welcome. When you hear this, it's 2020. What?
Yeah.
What?
I feel like...
How did that happen?
I can't wait for 2020. I'm a little
Yeah.
over this year. I'm not over this year. I'm just ready for something new.
Yeah.
A lot of good things happened this year, but a lot of crappy things happened
also,
this year.
there's this weird week between, because we're recording this today, the day after Christmas, and you get that weird week where it's like you don't want to work.
You don't want to.
You don't want to do anything, but you got to do the things. So
yeah. I'm
just ready for it to feel like I should be doing things, I guess.
The push of the new year to of all the newness and new starts. This is that time when it's time to argue, is it the end of the decade? Or is this the last year of the decade that we're coming into?
It doesn't.
Everybody's going to call this the end of the decade.
I didn't even think about it.
I have other things to argue.
Every year I have some
okay
trouble.
to lose that one.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Then I'm going to take it. I'll take any win.
The thing is, I don't know. Whichever way I take a stand, I don't care.
I always have trouble with the end of the year because it's like, did I do enough things? Uh-huh. And so I thought I would feel it kind of amplified if I'm acknowledging that this is the end of a decade. But I feel good about all the things I've done in this decade. Highs and lows.
Actually, yeah.
I've made 2 new people.
That's a big accomplishment.
Worked in a great shop. Had a business that went away. Have a great business now. I have a great job. We have a house. We didn't have a house. We did 2009. We moved into that house. Anyway.
Yeah. I'm excited for the new year.
2020. I mean, it just has a nice ring to it. Good things have got to happen better.
I certainly hope so.
Yeah.
I'm not. Yeah. I'm looking forward to see how many ways the advertisers are going to twist this 2020 because of the ring to it,
Right.
Yeah. Hey, it's an Olympic year.
Is it?
Is it?
Where are the Olympics going to be?
The Winter Olympics somewhere.
Yeah.
And then the 2 years later will be, I think, the LA Olympics? Are they coming in 2022?
They're a little farther away, I think.
2026.
Winter Olympics are 2022 is what Gugu is telling me.
So there's no Olympics this year?
So is it a Summer Olympics?
Maybe it's summer.
I feel like it's in an Asian country somewhere. I don't remember. Anne is Googling. She will tell us.
2020 Summer Olympics, July 24th to August 9th. And they will be held
in
Tokyo.
Which
Tokyo 2020 looks pretty dang
awesome.
Cool. Because the O's and the rings.
You know what?
Tokyo.
That's
kind of cool.
James's cousin is starting. I don't know if I'm not going to say who's, whatever. He's starting a new job where he has to move to Japan for a year. And I'm hoping to go visit him. So
yeah.
Maybe I'll go to Japan in 2020.
My son, who does not like to fly, was trying to hype himself up for an idea that a friend had to go to Japan. I was like, I hope that
that's a bucket list place. I'd love to go to Japan.
Yeah, I would also. I wonder about where I would go in Japan because I love big cities, but then sometimes I find them disappointing. Yeah. And I know Tokyo is the most bustling city.
Japan is also not that big, so you could do probably a lot.
That's a good point.
I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway. You want to get started on what are we working on?
You could go to the Tokyo Disney Resort.
No. I could go to the California Disney Resort.
It's true. Did you know that there's
Disney stuff? So.
Did you know that there is
one of my sons hates Disney.
Well,
so he can sit at my table. I don't hate Disney.
What's going to be weird because he's brought up he doesn't want to go on the annual family pilgrimage to Disneyland this year. He's a young adult.
Save yourself
he doesn't
some money.
have to go.
Yeah. I mean, this is Spencer.
Yeah.
I'm using names, okay.
Does he listen to the podcast?
He doesn't, but
but the other ones.
But
do.
Actually, no, they don't.
Okay.
But brings another topic. But his name, he doesn't want to be called Spencer anymore.
Oh.
Because he's never liked that name, and truthfully, he doesn't
suit it.
It doesn't suit him.
I could see that. Okay. I know somebody who changed their name on me this year, so I'm trying to get used to it.
I don't think I have permission to share his name, so I will respect that.
Okay. And, yeah.
But he came out to me about that, and I say those words because to him that's what it felt like. Mm-hmm. Coming to a parent and saying, I don't really like the name you gave me.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And I love you, but are you going to be okay with this? And
that's
I'm like,
fair, because my mom didn't even like me changing the spelling of my name so that I could correct people on calling me Annie.
My response was, I love my son, and however he wants to see how he sees himself. He's an adult. Mm-hmm. I want to accept him the way he sees him. He defines himself.
Yeah.
Now, if he'd asked me that a couple years ago or even last year, I may not have felt that way. But talking about 2019, I've had a huge mental shift.
Point of view.
My whole worldview changed. Perspective has completely altered. It's not that it's altered from what it has been, but it's not altered from how I used to be.
Well, you still have like your moral character set.
And I also think a lot of people experienced that shift in the last few years.
Yeah.
I feel I'm awakened more to how I felt when I was his age. That's and good. More how I used to believe and how I used to think before age and life and having children and being in a very small homeschool community narrowed my window of my worldview, and so it's like someone cracked the window open and I could see out better.
I was gonna say, and that maybe because he's a year younger than Alexander, and I've just recently observed a shift in Alexander of feeling like he backed off of participating and now he's back in, and he's like,
that's a real tendency for teenagers to not want to participate.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So and it's a full he's fully buying in to the things he participates in.
That's good.
And so I don't know if that is something.
And you know what? And I believe
his choice to not go.
This is the thing. I think if he's given the freedom to make that choice, then he'll enjoy it if he chooses to opt in more because he got to make that choice.
Chose to be there.
And he feels more respected, like someone. He's not a little kid who people have to make decisions for.
Yeah.
And that's part of
that
him learning to being a grown up is being allowed to have the space to make those decisions and not worry about judgment.
Yep.
So.
So. Yeah. What are you working on, Karin?
So what are you working on?
I think I'm actually going to finish a sweater before it's time.
That is from the all-time best pom-pom magazine, in which I want to make every single thing in there.
It is. It's called... Oh, wait a minute.
We looked it up how to say
How to pronounce it. Astragal. Like almost gull like seagull, but not...
Astragal.
Astragal.
Astragal. Okay. We had to Google it.
So what does it mean?
It's a form of molding found on doors. It's a specific shape of molding.
Huh.
I Googled it. Now I know things.
Okay, so this is really going to be super comfortable. It's
gorgeous.
It is a blue, black, so it's still kind of my color palette. But what's making it unusual for me is it's a crop top. And I'm going to, but it's not so cropped that it's going to show off my belly button.
You know what? Cute with the dress you're wearing right now.
I was wearing a dress with a sweater over it this weekend, and I will talk about the sweater not right now, but I was wishing it were like 6 inches shorter specifically to wear with dresses. So cropped sweaters with dresses is a very cute look. And I was wishing that my sweater was shorter, which is the first time that's ever happened to me. Because normally I wish my sweater was longer, but
it was really
Part of this year is also accepting body acceptance of my own body, and that I'm going to someday to be different. No, this is my body. This is what my body is, and I can make. And I've seen larger bodies look amazing in crop tops.
It's a good proportion.
It all depends on what you wear it with too.
Yeah, it depends on what you wear it with. Exactly. So
it's a sweater.
It's a sweater.
Does it have full length sleeves or?
About 3/4 sleeves. It's in reverse stockinette, which since my brain likes to purl a lot, that's fine.
I would knit that sweater inside out.
Yep. That's so cute.
And, okay, so there was one point where I did get a little tired of it, and so I did like a German short row.
Short row turn. Yeah.
But after a while, I'm like, oh, I think my gauge is going to be a little different because my gauge knitting is not the same as my gauge purling, and I want to change it, so I changed it back. But it's got this really cute floral kind of detail, and the knits and the ribbing that is there is a knit through the back loop, so it's a nice tight little rib, so it's not poofy.
It's very
but
cute.
It's got this really cool detail at the bottom hem that it looked like peaks and valleys.
Kind of like a scalloped ribbing.
Yeah, kind of like a scalloped ribbing, but it's straight on the bottom, but the ribbing is coming. Like the scallop is coming up into the
cute.
Bottom of the sweater, and the bottom of the sleeves are going to have the same detail. I think that's
going to look really cute on you.
I'm going to make that sweater, but in lavender.
Ooh.
Whenever I get to it.
Well, my color choice was determined by I'm going to choose from stash.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, so I might have been cheating. I had one skein of the 4.
I thought you were going to say you had to buy one skein.
No. I started with the 1.
You were
bought
inspired
3.
by stash.
I still think that's fine.
It's partial stash.
If you finish the sweater, that does equal 1 skein of yarn out of your stash.
That's right.
Yes,
That's right.
It does.
That of course it was a different dye lot, and I saw
that means nothing in Malabrigo.
Whatever.
So it's Malabrigo. What yarn is it?
It's Malabrigo, and so what I did was when it came, when the first one was not yet done, I alternated around another, so at least it would blend down.
You can't tell.
Not at all.
It's funny, I see it.
It looks like a gradient because it's a little darker at the
Exactly.
bottom, but it looks very intentional.
Yes, it does.
And I did not do that on the sleeves, but the sleeves had that same feel because, hey, the 3 were the same dye lot, and the 1 wasn't. Yeah. But no, I'm going to be really, and please, it's kind of like a dirty denim, if you can think of it that way.
Cirrus gray, is that the color?
Cirrus gray. It doesn't really look gray to me, but
I don't know why they call it that because it's definitely blue.
It's blue,
sometimes
but it has
it's more
little patches.
This. Yeah,
it's got the
it
dark
does have
parts
gray
have
tones
a gray
to it.
over blue.
It reads as a blue.
But doesn't this look like a slightly worn denim, but not more light, like the denim that you've washed 2 times?
Did you call it dirty denim?
Dirty denim. I like a slight grunge look to stuff. It's just, I like things that are not overly perfect and neat and tidy. Probably because my life is that way. I feel more comfortable with my life if I'm not a everything in its place kind of person. I need things kind of spread out in front of me to really spatially see where it goes.
Well, you'll have that sweater finished in no time.
I know. I'm on a sleeve, and so I was 2 days ago. I was 4 inches from the bottom. So, and this one goes all the way. It's a top-down sweater, so you're going all the way around the body.
It's a pullover.
It's a pullover. I realized I did not give myself the amount of ease that it calls for. It calls for 6 to 8
inches.
Has
a lot of ease.
It calls for 6 to 8 inches of ease. I only did like 2 or 3 inches.
I think
it's still going to look great.
Have you tried it on?
No, but this has silk content, so I can block it bigger.
Which one is it? Which yarn? I'm sorry.
This
Malabrigo.
is it's Malabrigo
Dos Tierras.
Dos Tierras.
I haven't knitted with
I like to say it that way. Dos Tierras.
It's beautiful.
It just has this great feel to it.
It's got some alpaca in it, doesn't it?
Maybe
it's like a little halo.
That's right. It's alpaca, not silk, but it feels like silk. But the alpaca is going to behave similarly and give it some stretch and some drape. So it's got a really pretty yoke kind of design. You've got your increases on a yoke pattern as opposed to a raglan. And I just love how the little... It's like a floral, like a bud. Like a bud.
Or a teardrop.
Yeah,
raindrop kind of shape.
It comes up right from the ribbing at the neck. Mm-hmm. So
cool.
Anyhow, so that's the thing I'm currently working on. I've got a couple things I was working on this week that I actually finished for the next set of classes.
Cool.
So you're not working on them anymore.
Well,
they go to the next.
They go to the next segment.
segment.
That's why I didn't say anything. I'm trying to be good.
So what are you working on, Anne?
I am working on Simpler Sinister sweater.
Sinister?
Yes.
Sinister.
What makes it sinister?
So
That's fun to say.
I might have talked about it in the past. It is
I don't remember that name.
For my son, who is 19.
Did you name it this?
No.
This is the pattern?
It's the pattern. Simpler Sinister sweater. And it's... I'm not super familiar with its designer. I just came across it because it was like hot right now, and then I was like, Alexander, look at this, it's adorable. So my 6'2", 6'3", 19-year-old son loves kitties. And he just loves kitties. So it is
That's awesome.
A two-tone sweater, yoke-shaped sweater with
Oh God, look at this.
I need to make that for James. He would love that. I have to write that
cat
down.
heads.
So it's just a little.
It's so. I want
It's
to
a yoke.
It
it's
is
so
simple.
easy.
It is a simple.
And actually, I really like this sweater design. Like, it's just a very good go-to yoke, and you can skip the color work. And so the color
why
work.
would you?
The color work is these little kitty heads, like if a kitty were peeking over a fence, and it's a whole line of them.
But it's not obvious. When you
because when you first look at it, you just see I don't know
color,
two colors,
and then you look closer, and then it's
which is perfect for a 6'3", big guy. He has this shirt his girlfriend
There's a
gave him
cardigan
last year.
version.
I know, the cardigan, yes.
There's
There's instructions in it on to make it a cardigan. I was going to call it a catigan.
There's a kiddigan for babies.
This one has it in a kiddigan.
Yeah.
It has it in, like, the sizes on this are for a child with a 17.5-inch chest to an adult with a 64-inch chest.
Wow. This is awesome.
Yep.
I'm going to show that to James.
I'm excited about it. And so I'm in the kitty heads. And when you get to that point in the pattern, it says...
I was wondering what you were doing.
Yeah, it says, the cats are here. And it's only 7 rows of fun, but it's worth it.
Yes.
And he's looking forward to it. Like, he's asking me where his sweater is, which this is a birthday present for
that's
him.
good.
His birthday was in October. And we picked the colors together. I've heard a few women who are making sweaters for their 19-year-olds. There's a couple ladies out there doing it for their daughters. I'm like, I'm also making a sweater for my 19-year-old.
I might need to make the kid version for my niece. She would love it.
Well, I'm thinking about it for my daughter and my 3 nieces, or my 2 nieces. But they're also very picky about texture.
Oh, yeah.
And like Marabella has told me many times, even though she loves me making for her, that she doesn't really like yarny fabric on her skin. Wah, wah, wah. I'll break her of it.
Get over it.
Well, she's enjoying knitting and crochet. That is the main thing that I am actively working on. I did make a swatch on the 24th, which I think I'm going to make this sweater without the kitty heads, and I'll tell you why. I was in Portland, and I shopped at 2 of my favorite yarn stores, Twisted, which is in Northeast Portland, and Starlight Knitting Society, which is in Southeast Portland. And I picked up some Germantown from Kelborn Woolen.
I've always wanted to play with that yarn. Is it nice?
It is. It feels very woolly, and it comes in a convenient skein, which is really cool. It doesn't feel great in the skein. It just feels woolly.
I feel like it would be amazing for color work.
Yes. And it does feel really good. I didn't bring it because it's in a different bag that I grabbed this morning. I will be happy to let you touch it. And then I picked up a couple other cool greens while I was there. And then I picked up another cool green at Twisted, and thinking I'm going to put these together in a stripy shawl of some sort. But I really feel very oriented to sweaters right now, so that hasn't faded.
Gotta run with it.
Yeah, so I did a 2-and-2 stripe of the 4, and the Germantown will be a...
This is the sweater,
collar,
but a color stripe.
Kind of in the spirit of the go-to raglan, but I want to make a yoke-shaped sweater.
Yes.
And this, I'm really enjoying this pattern. It's very well written and simple, and there's a lot of stitch counts. It's very good. My gauge will be a little different, so I just adjusted the size that I'm going to cast on to get my finished size I want.
That's awesome.
And so my greens are really, I'm sure I'll talk about it more in the future and show them to you when it's actually present. But, in the what have I finished, I have a fair thing, and we just made it through to the other side of Christmas. So really, I'm working on this sweater that my child is actually interested in receiving from me.
That's awesome.
It's a good thing. And I know he'll wear it. He hasn't complained about yarny things against his skin.
Are you using Arroyo?
Yes.
That's like the softest yarn anyway.
It is. It passes the boys test. So it's
even when it
bared,
feels, you'll love it.
The Arroyo Natural and bared as the was the main color. Most of the cat heads and the sweater body will be in this color. He wanted black, but there was there was no black available with enough. So I showed him there, and I'm like, this is a wonderful color. You're going to love it. Mm-hmm. And he has a little green tint to his eyes, so I always like to put him in green if I can get him there.
I was going to say, can you put your 19-year-old in clothes anymore?
If I take away everything else. I mean, we work together in a formal work environment, so I really hate the question, what do your kids want for Christmas? Because, like, if you know them, you would just pick something. People who ask that question do know them well, but I still don't like that question. So I told everyone to get him work shirts.
Did he appreciate that?
Sort of controlled what he...
So technically you can, in a roundabout way.
I think he did, yeah. I mean, he really liked it. His grandparents were the people who provided that on both sides, and he's already worn one to work today, and he wore one on his date to his girlfriend's to go see... Like, he changed into it at Grandma's after Christmas to go on a date with his girlfriend to see Cats. And they knew it was going to be bad.
Yeah.
And they just wanted to see how far they could make it through the movie.
Did they stay the whole time?
They made it halfway.
Okay. I have not seen it yet.
I am not even going to go.
Dude, you have so much money to throw around that you're going to go to a 9:00 showing of a movie you know you're not going to sit all the way through. Let's talk about rent again.
Right? This seems like you have expendable income.
Yeah. He also didn't use a coupon that I gave him recently. I was like, here, I have a 20% off coupon for you to go buy your ingredients to your presents.
Why do you want to spend more money
so then
than you
asked him, I asked him, I think it's probably tied to, like, anxiety of doing something out of order.
Oh.
And I asked him, did the 20% off coupon help you? He's like, I didn't use it. It only saved me a few bucks. I'm like, okay, tell me the amount you spent so we could really go over the amount that you would have saved. $6. Oh, that's only a few bucks, Mom.
Sure.
That if it were me, it's my $6.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he doesn't pay for,
he doesn't pay for anything.
Mortgage and bills and stuff, so.
Okay.
So he doesn't have that perspective.
That is the main thing I am working on in current time. And I really have made good progress. I started it wrong the first time, and I had like maybe an inch of the yoke done. Mm-hmm. And when we went on a 4-day trip to Portland, and when we arrived on my first day really being there, I ripped it back to the collar and I got to here. Mm-hmm. So, which is, what here is about 10 inches. And, 8 maybe inches 9. Into the collar, into the yoke. Mm-hmm. And I'm making the size 14, which is a 56-inch chest. So, there's a lot of stitches on here.
Whew. Yeah. I am working on a sock.
This sock looks amazing.
It is funky. So this pattern is called There and Back Again, and it's by...
Is it Hobbit based?
I don't know.
Shouldn't it be There and Back Again?
It's by Chanel Wu, and it is a sock that is knit flat, and with... Wait, I have to read you her description because it's funny. It's knitted flat, so you don't have to use double-pointed needles. Let me pull it up so I can read to you exactly what it says.
I was a little obsessed with a book that is out. I think you still get it. It's 2 Socks on Straights. And it's like cool like things.
This kind of thing?
Yeah.
So it says, a sock that's knit completely flat with no short rows and no seaming. How did they do it? And I was like, that's enough to get me to buy the pattern.
A mystery.
It involves picking up stitches. Spoiler alert. But it is very fun. I just started it today and I'm...
you almost have a whole sock.
I am finished with the instep, and I turned my toe, and now I'm working on my sole, and I have to pay attention. I should pay attention because I have to figure out when I have to start increasing to do my heel. But that is what I'm currently working on. I have a million little things that I have started for class samples, but it's a lot of various things. And I want to get back to, I think tomorrow I'm leaving town for New Year's weekend, and I want to pick back up my rainbow, what is it called, Rainbow in the Storm sweater that I was working on a couple months ago, because I haven't touched that in a while. So I think I'm taking that with me this weekend, but I'm just working on lots of little things, because Christmas sort of offset everything I was doing. Yep. So that is what I'm working on right now.
Yeah, I've got some designs that are coming up.
I could look at my notes. I'm pretty sure that's all I'm working on. Oh, I also have a baby-sized version of the Strange Brew sweater pattern as both a class sample, and I have friends who are having a baby boy this springtime.
So what are you putting on it?
Yeah, what colors? What are you doing?
There's a picture of it on my Instagram. It's kind of like a rust-colored background.
I thought I saw rust.
With like a kind of Tiffany bluey, light blue color work in the yoke.
That's pretty.
And I wanted to test if I just sort of, because the pattern gives you like a certain number of rows you have to work with for each color work section. So I just picked a motif that matched that number of rows for each one, and I didn't really plan it. I just wanted to see what would happen if I just chose a pattern and did a different one each time. And it turned out pretty cute. So that was a successful experiment, and it's going to be a very cute sweater. And the yarn I'm using is from Hobby Lobby, and it is called something about merino. It's like a touch of merino, it's called It Must Be Merino. And it's like a nylon merino blend, but it's super soft, and I really like it. So I would consider making myself a sweater in it, and it was inexpensive, but so I have the body almost finished in that.
I have the pattern Strange Brew. And I will say I looked at it, and I know everything from Tin Can Knits is really good. They walk you through it, and yet I felt intimidated.
The pattern is like 30 pages long. I know.
I look at it and it feels intimidating, but then your Santa sweater is like rockin' amazing. And
so I'm doing the Strange Brew pattern as a class. If you're listening to this, you can sign up for it now. And I'm going to spend the first session of that class going through all of the options. So you don't have to buy any yarn. You don't have to do any prep work. Just show up to the class with the pattern, and we'll figure out what we're doing. Because it's something like 25 different sizes. You can knit it top down or bottom up. You can do it in DK, sock, or worsted. And then you have to design your color work. So it's a lot of options. But the pattern is broken down into basically two patterns. There's the top-down pattern, and there's the bottom-up pattern. So that's the majority of the pages is like, it's two different patterns. Plus at the end, there's all the resources of charts and color work stuff. So it's a very long, very thorough pattern, but it is
amazing.
It's basically a book. But I sort of felt the same way when I started my Christmas sweater. I was like, this is a lot of pattern, but you really just pick out the pages you need. It's a lot of pages, but it was very approachable. So that we can jump into what did I finish. So I finished my Christmas sweater.
It's so cute.
I don't know if I'm sure I talked about it.
Yeah, you did.
So it is.
But it seems like it came together quickly.
It did. I started it in October. And I knitted it from the bottom up. So I started in October, and I started the body, and I got like up to the underarms. And then at the beginning of December, I realized I should get back to work on it if I want to wear it on Christmas. So then I knit the sleeves, and they were pretty quick. And the color work in the yoke has Christmas trees and Santas and holly berries and leaves in the yoke. And I went on Google, and I searched for like Christmas knitting charts, and I kind of made up some and used some that I could find as my colorwork patterns and plugged them into that pattern, and it worked really well. And I had sort of sketched it out first to sort of get an idea of what it would look like, and my sweater looks exactly like my sketch. I was very proud of myself.
Excellent.
But I'm very happy with it, and I wore it for a little while on Christmas Eve before I got too hot, because there were a lot of people in my house.
Would that be a great pattern to mix with that altered stitch?
That would be fun.
Stitch dictionary.
It was very fun, and I could see myself making a lot of them. I'm going to finish the baby size one, and then I want to knit another adult size one with my class, because there are endless possibilities.
Yeah. Well, I mean, stranded knitting is one of my absolute favorite things.
It's so fun.
And the possibilities are endless, and it is very impressive for the amount of work you need to put in, which is
Not that much.
Less than it seems.
There were some sections of the sweater that I shot myself in the foot because they had 3 colors per row, which I hate doing. But if I didn't do that, the Christmas trees wouldn't have ornaments on it. Yeah. And they needed to have ornaments.
And it's much better to strand it than to duplicate stitch it
I thought about it for a second. I was like, no, that's a bad idea.
Half a second, right?
Now, why do you think that duplicate stitch would be...
Because it was a lot of... It would have taken longer.
There's quite a few trees.
Quite a few trees.
Yes, there were like 50 trees or something on my sweater. It would have taken a lot longer to duplicate stitch the little red dots on.
All the different strands of each color per tree would have been... Yeah. It would have changed the texture of the sweater too.
Yeah, it was a labor of love, but I literally enjoyed every minute of it. I had a really good time making it.
I wish you could make one Santa Browning.
You know, that's why I had to knit it from the bottom up, so he wouldn't be sad, but I could have like a little Easter egg Santa in there where he looks sad.
But I was appreciating your thoughtfulness of what bottom up to or top down would do to your chart, because this sweater is top down, so the kitty ears are points.
Oh, that's very thoughtful. They probably thought of it.
Hey, look at how cute this is.
Otherwise, they wouldn't be.
They might have needed to draw the chart differently. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like use more rows to like maybe do 3
to make a little peak.
But it would never have been as good if it weren't this direction.
Yeah. So I finished that. I also finished my Cozy Classic Raglan. I don't know if I finished it last time. That's my pink fuzzy one.
Oh, that's so pretty.
The pattern...
You were committedly knitting on it at the time.
I think the pattern should be out by the time this episode comes out, because I think it's coming out January 3rd. And I test knitted it. So I finished that, and I love it. I've actually worn it a couple times, which was surprising to me, because it has a strand of mohair, so it's very warm, but it's very cozy. And I don't know why it took me so long to figure out that if you wear like a long sleeve t-shirt under a sweater, that it's like, I always thought like, if I can wear less underneath, that means I'll be less hot. So I would wear like a camisole or a tank top or something. Yes. But then it's like against my arms, and then I would get hot.
Yep.
So I don't know why it took me so long to figure out that if I just wear full length sleeves, then I was much more comfortable.
Listening to you say that is like, well, duh, of course. But then I'm like, have I really thought about that?
No, I never thought about it before until I was cold one day and I was wearing a long sleeve shirt, and then I threw that one on over it so that none of the mohair was actually touching my skin. And so I didn't get sweaty or prickly or anything. It was just very nice and warm and cozy.
That's awesome.
And I love that sweater.
I was thinking about when I was buying fun yarn this weekend to improvise something, like, should I grab a strand of mohair? Because like Knitted Wit is up there, and they have a ton of it at Twisted, so many gorgeous colors and a ton of the pretty mohair, but I just couldn't envision. I don't know that a mohair sweater is for me.
It could be. I didn't think it would be for me either, but I really like it, and I have worn it more than once. And I wore it when we were in Independence and it was snowing, which is like, okay, I could wear it then. But I did wear it in Fillmore.
Okay. I'm like, because I wasn't impressed when you were wearing it.
No, I wore it like last week.
Great. Yeah.
I wore it here. I wore it here one day, and I wore it all day.
I understand that you had like near blizzard weather here in Ventura while I was gone, so.
Did we? It was raining.
We had a high of 43.
Yeah.
Earlier. Did you see the mountains?
The mountains are gorgeous right now.
Because it was pouring so freaking hard.
It won't be there tomorrow, but it was very pretty this morning.
The range from Ventura all the way probably past Fillmore into
It was gorgeous.
It was just covered.
I've never seen that much snow.
No, I've never seen that much snow.
Yeah, it got really low. There was a year at this time, because it was the year we spent 10 days in Portland, and I bought my boys all good snow gear, thinking that it would snow, and it never snowed. It just like icy rain. And then we came home, and it snowed on January 3rd when we were at my mom's house in Santa Clarita, and we had to drive home. And I think there were a little bit of snow flurries in the Target parking lot.
That's awesome.
In Ventura.
What year was this?
Dante was 2 or 3. So 2009 maybe?
Okay.
No, it wouldn't have been 2009. 2010. Several years ago.
I have very much been enjoying this weather. Today was lovely. It was nice.
It was nice.
I like the cool weather.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I didn't even need a coat in Portland. It
wow.
It was pretty... Wow. For them, it was very warm. There was days that were close to like on the 24th, it was like 38 degrees, but it was just brisk.
The snow is lovely, but I was reminded quickly that I do not appreciate it being anywhere where I need to drive. Because that didn't end well for me. But
I've never driven in snow.
I have once, barely when it was snowing, but when we drove to Independence the day after Thanksgiving, it was actively snowing in Lancaster. And we had a fender bender, and it was awful.
Oh, you got in an accident?
Yes. I didn't tell you this?
About this.
Oh, yeah. So on the
Are you okay?
I'm fine. No, it was like the best it could have gone. On the 14 freeway north in Lancaster, it was like super snowy and icy, and there were all these people pulled over, and we were in my Expedition, which is a very big, sturdy car, and we hit ice on a bridge and sort of spun out and hit the guardrail in the center divider, and
that's the scariest place.
It was very scary. It bent my bumper and it broke my headlight, so if you go out and you look at my car, it's damaged in the front. But nobody was hurt, everybody's fine.
Thank God.
We were able to keep going on our trip. It turned out as well as you could have hoped. So
okay, you're done with that.
Yes. So that was reminded I don't like driving in the snow.
Holy cow.
So I'm thankful that I can see it from my house, but I don't like that. I'm happy that I don't live in it.
No, I know I would not like to live in it. We went up to Big Bear on Kevin's birthday weekend, which was the next weekend. And it didn't snow on us, but it was nighttime and the roads were icy.
It's scary.
Well, and the other part, like Big Bear is a big winding road, right? So I've driven it one time before in the light, and I knew what was coming. But we got to a certain height on the mountain, and I turned on the it's five people in the car, so sometimes the windows fog up immediately. So I was like, oh, gotta turn on the defrosters. Nothing's changing. Oh, that's outside. It was like a light misty fog in and out of it the whole way up the mountain. So I inflicted complete silence on my children. There was no talking to mom aloud, and I turned on a CD that I know all the words to so that I could just sing at the top of my lungs for any frustration and zone out, and no one was allowed to distract me from what I was doing. So God bless you for actually driving in the snow.
We didn't intend to. And then all of a sudden we hit Lancaster, and it was like, holy guacamole, there's a lot of snow up here. I've never seen snow that low. Yeah. It was nuts.
I had heard it snow, but I didn't think about it affecting anyone I knew.
It was crazy. It affected me. It's fine. But that's all I've finished.
That's it?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Well, a couple other things, but it's nothing that exciting.
Yeah. 2 sweaters. That's all.
Yeah. What'd you finish?
I have been making this cute pattern that Linda Frank turned me on to, called the Bohemian Bear Beanie. It's a crocheted
Was those pink ones you made? Yeah. Those were cute.
I threw it on Strings and Things Instagram in recent time. So my husband asked me early December if I would make a sweater for a baby shower that was 2 days away.
How thoughtful.
And he knew that he gave me permission to say no before he asked. And he knew that it was an unreasonable request. But he caught me at a good moment. And I knew that was a quick thing. And I had drop in the next day. So I was like, sure. So I finished the one for Mirabella I had made 2 months before and made the pom-poms. Which making the pom-poms takes almost as much time as making the hat.
And almost as much yarn.
Yes.
If not more.
Ooh, I don't know. It's hard to say if it's not more. It's pretty close. But you got to be careful that your pom-poms don't weigh more than your hat. I think I've been over this before. Like your pom-poms need to weigh less than your hat. Otherwise it drags it off the baby's head. Yeah. I was actually just going to give him the one I made for Mirabella and add pom-poms. And I was like, oh, it's a little tight for an adult head. And he's like, well, that's not going to fit a baby's head. And I didn't want to argue any further, so I just made a new one. And then a coworker of his saw it and said, I want to have that, and I will buy one from your wife. And that was like closer to Christmas. And then I asked him, is this a Christmas present? He's like, yeah, I think it's a Christmas present. Also, she wants a shark bite hat. Then I went on this like searching thing of like
your existential crisis.
Has she ever seen me make one of those? No. Why is she asking for that? Have I ever made one of those? Kevin's like, yeah, one of the boys had it. So I was like, okay, which one? And then I looked through all of my photos, all of my finished projects on Ravelry, which I have not been very good about keeping up over the years. I went through my patterns. I searched magazines it might have come out of, because I think it could have been like in a Halloween magazine the first time I saw it. I cannot find having made one ever. But then I also have a vision of one of my sons wearing them. But I can't imagine I didn't take a picture of it. So then I was like, fine, ask oldest son if where his is. So he responds, ask Dante. That's the next one down. Ask Dante. It's his. He had one. Dante's like, I've never had that. Alexander had that. So finally, I just found a pattern on Ravelry, and I made it. Except the poor girl didn't care about getting it for Christmas, and I used up a lot of my making time before Christmas to get this project done. But it's done. So when they get back to school, she can have it and buy it from him, and great. But the Bohemian Bear beanie is really cute. It's a child or adult size, and you just change the hook size. And you make 2 big pom-poms for either side. It has bobbles and post stitches, and it makes like a little basket weave, and there's ribbing, and the bobbles remind me of Daleks.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
So then I used up all my making time, and I had this plan of something I wanted to make that was going to it was important to me that I was looking forward to on the trip to have this made. So I have these 2 adorable nieces and Mirabella, and the 3 of them are 3 peas in a pod. And they love each other. They get along the whole time they're together. I haven't seen them together for a length of time, long or short, where they do not get along. They have this good balance of standing up to each other and of going in stride with it. So I made them the cutest pajamas in the world. It's the Simplicity pattern I made for my daughter recently, and it's little science things all over it on a pink background, and their mom's a scientist. Kevin's a science teacher, and I put rickrack in their own colors, and so I had to pack up my sewing machine and bring it to Portland with me so I could finish that. And I did.
And you actually sewed.
I sewed.
It flew with you.
I've done it twice. Like, this is my second time taking my sewing machine to my in-laws' house. This time I realized that kind of irritated my father-in-law the first time. So I asked my mother-in-law if there was a card table. And my husband set it all upstairs for me. We could close the door. No one had to see it. And I got no complaints. So then we were at Pendleton. So guess what day the mill closed at Pendleton this year?
I don't know.
On the Friday that I was flying there. So the mill was no longer doing mill tours, which is something I've wanted to do for a long time.
I guess you won't be getting that for Christmas.
The mill, Well, I went to the mill store. You're still not getting Pendleton stuff this year. This year. So
I thought you loved us.
I love you so much, but I already had your project finished. Because that's one of the things. I finished 5 gifts. Can't talk about them. Because we haven't done our gift exchange yet.
We like to do it post-holiday.
I have to get you guys something?
No. Your presents can be the presents.
Okay. Yeah. No, I already
You're gonna love. The problem I had was I got stuff and then I forgot I got stuff, so I got more stuff.
Ooh,
and I'm like,
I love it.
So Pendleton. What happened to Pendleton?
So the store was open. No one else wanted to be there.
You're like, I don't care, children.
Well, they were good and everyone was patient. Mirabella was cool with being there. I just wasn't going to buy her anything.
Mommy, I like this. Mommy, I like that.
So I got some yardage that was 40% off of their $109 per yard.
You know, Fabric Town has a couple Pendletons, and I went to look at it, and I was like, no, I can't buy that.
I had been looking forward to this all year, so I had a budget in mind.
Price per yard?
$109
At least $100.
Well, how wide is it?
64 inches.
Okay, so it's wider.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
I got 1.36 inches and binding to go around it, so I'm going to do my own blanket. So it's just me sized. I'm not sharing it.
1.3 what?
1.36 yards.
You said inches.
Oh.
I got a tiny little strip of Pendleton, and that's what I can afford.
Because I don't know if you guys have heard about.
It's a Snuggie that I fit in my purse.
I just wrap it real tight around my neck.
Tiny little scarf.
I rub it against my cheek.
and I bound it with their felted binding. Oh my God. You can. So one of the things I had heard about, one of the myths of Pendleton, is like and I haven't investigated signing up for this because I think it would be probably a little overwhelming. They'll send you boxes of their scraps.
Of scraps?
Yeah.
Oh, I need that.
And so like I think a lot of the like.
What if we go in on a box?
Oh, maybe
the three of us split it.
That'd be fun.
I think a lot of the purse designers who are doing just a little square, they're doing
that's what I want it for.
Boxes. Yeah. And there was seriously good stuff. Because one of the things I saw was the closet case patterns. There's our cute jacket. Do you guys remember offhand what it's called? What is it called? Oh, I can look. But they had that jacket made in one of their plain fabrics with one of the pattern jacquards as a panel.
That would be cool.
I found pieces that were big enough in the scrap bin that they sell by the pound. $5 a pound. There was there was good. I will show you guys this good stuff later. I didn't grab the bag. So I got stuff to make myself a blanket. They had quarter-yard scraps or, remnants that I'm going to make a scarf for myself and a scarf for my mom. And I'm going to bind all around with those like they do their blankets. And I made, this is what are you finished with time? Yeah. So I was still shopping for my sister-in-law for Christmas for back here in Southern California. So they had little applique packets that were curated. And I got like this dark navy plaid in their shirtweight plaid, and then two, I don't know what weight they were, but they're almost like a thick felt weight in turquoise and navy blue. And those coasters that you make where you layer like closing a box top, one over, one over, sew around the perimeter and then turn it right side. If you came to our open house, it was like the little tissue box thing. So I made two of those, and I got her this gorgeous Pendleton mug to go with the mug rags. She opened them, and first she opened the mug rags, and it's just these two squares.
Ooh, you got me a square.
A felted flannel. And she's like looking at me in a sort of confused way. It's like, they're mug rags. Open the next thing. But I thought they looked cute together.
Nice. Cool.
The cutest pajamas in the world were very satisfying. And they were on the cutest girls in the world.
There you go. So
and what did you... just last thing, my niece Kylie is one of the best human beings for receiving handmade goods.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Because that's
nice to have those in your life.
Yeah. There's some people that are okay with it, and there's some people that you want to make more stuff for because they're the kind of people that encourage you.
I thought her little sister would be a little more excited about getting something that I made directly for her because she gets all the hand-me-down handmaids. How old is she? She's 6. And it's it was a little big on her. Kylie's always been good. Anyway.
Everyone's different.
Let's compare my niece's personalities now. I'm done.
So what have you finished, Karin?
Well, I was trying to figure out things I finished, but I realized some of the things I finished are not necessarily physical, tangible things.
Oh.
The things that I finished are more me putting my knitwear designer hat on.
The World Benefits.
Yeah, the World Benefits hat. I don't know why I just said that, because you put it in my head and I mimic everything you say. That's dangerous. Oh, don't even put that. I'm not looking at you because I see that look on your face.
I just wanted to compliment that when you design something, it's all good for everybody. That's all.
And you agreed, you should have.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, what have you designed, Karin?
She's subliminally planting more things in my head. Okay, so I have a pattern that I sent to my tech editor, and you would think because it was already written that I just had to send it to her and she'd correct it and it'd be all fine. But when you have a pattern that you haven't thought about in 5 years, that unfortunately 5 years ago is when I started really getting good about keeping data spreadsheets. I had a spreadsheet with all my numbers, and I took, kept track of everything I did step by step by step, which really, really helped her to be able to keep track of. So I designed a pattern 5 years ago that never got edited or published, and it's a really unusual design. It goes cuff to cuff, but it's got increases, and the way it goes across the neck is kind of a reverse contiguous if you have ever done a contiguous shoulder, just think it creates a collar. It's just it's kind of, I like to turn things upside down and look at them from a different perspective. And then once the top half of the garment's done, then you pick up stitches and go down. Anyway, but I mean, that writing was so far in the past, I couldn't tell you what I did or why I got those numbers that I did. Fortunately, my numbers made sense and was good, but it still takes a while to work back and forth and do some corrections.
Well, you're re-knitting it, right? Or?
So I will be re-knitting it because, again, the yarn company no longer exists. She's moved on to other things. She got a degree, and I love the yarn. But now that I'm trying to re-swatch it, I realize the gauge that I got on her yarn, she had a very unique twist to that yarn, and so it's actually a good thing in the long run because I'm going to be using a yarn that has a more standard feel to it for its weight. It's a worsted weight. And to get gauge in this particular stitch, I had to go to a 5, where originally on the other one, I got that gauge on an 8. So, but fortunately, I'm like, we are going by gauge, we're not changing the numbers to fit. We're gauge is king. So if I had to get that gauge on a 5, then 5 is what I'm recommending to everybody.
Yeah.
So
gauge is king.
And I will be looking for testers next month, for the sweater. The test will run for 3 to 4 months, which means you'll be finishing it up just in time to put it away for the next place where it's cold. But maybe you're going to live in a place where it's cold longer than here in Southern California. But yeah, so that took some of my mental. I also designed a purse pattern.
So pretty.
A sewing pattern.
A sewing pattern.
I've never done a sewing pattern before. I'm gonna have to look into how to make the pattern pieces for cutting out, because
I have a resource for that. Remind me to bring it.
Okay, awesome. And I get to do schematics now because I got a better way of making schematics. I used to have a bamboo Wacom tablet. It was a very small thing. And then my husband decided to get asked me if Spencer, who wants to be an artist of some sort, and he's got the skills to do that, if he would appreciate something like that for Christmas. And I said, yeah, but I have been asking for years for me to have something like that, because my laptop doesn't work with my bamboo tablet, which is no longer, it's so old it's no longer supported. So guess what I got for Christmas?
Hey, the drawing tablet. Woo!
This drawing tablet has its own screen, and it's like 15.5 inches wide.
Wow. That's awesome.
It's bigger than my laptop.
Oh, that sounds fun to play with.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to play with. So I'll be working on layout and putting more of my designer. But it was cool. But it was a neat stretch to try to design something in another medium that I haven't done before. I made this really cool hat that you can't see, cute. But it's.
She'll post a picture on her Instagram page.
Yes, I will. And it's going to be capuchin, CAPUCINE hat.
I've always wanted to make that hat. Yeah. I've never done it, but I should.
Okay, think of it as a beanie.
It's like a hood that's not attached to a sweater.
I think of it as a deconstructed beanie.
It's like a beanie with a big split in the back.
It's a bonnet.
It's a bonnet.
It's a bonnet.
It's really cute though.
It is. That's not a disparaging remark, but it is a bonnet.
The yarn, I really fell in love with it, and it's good because it's from Yarn Love. And this color is called Peach Jellyfish. And
I like it.
And it's so pretty. It's got pinks and peach and teal.
One of those. I feel like that's a good hat because it's like
it's a one evening.
It's probably really easy to wear.
Super easy. You just try this on.
No, it's okay.
No, okay. My hair's clean.
No, I'm not. Mine might not be. No, I should make one of those.
Okay, it's but a hat cute. This special needed a special pom-pom.
That is a good pom-pom.
And you know what? You can find anything you want on the magic of the internet. So I thought, if I type in unicorn faux fur pom-pom, because it is not just it's not just a fluffy pom-pom, it's like a faux fur with rainbow colors. I found.
It looks like you
found them.
Skinned some sort of unicorn cat something. And
that's what I suspected, because I was going to ask you if you had to go to the dark web for that.
It's real.
You guys can't tell this, okay? You don't. If
you're listening on the internet, Karin. If you're listening to this, it's already on the internet.
No,
in various places and sources.
Societies against the cruelty to unicorns are going to come after me now.
It's a special PETA chapter.
Yeah, a PETA chapter.
Oh, cool. I'm glad I pissed them off then.
It would be PEDU. People for the Ethical Treatment of Unicorns.
Pitois.
Pitois.
All I know is
it's French.
Oh my god.
Okay, you guys are devolving.
I need to go to bed.
That's not even the right word.
We didn't get to our goal till this hour.
Oh my gosh, look how late it is. Anyway, so I finished that hat. And so much so that I think that this is going to be when I'm feeling gloomy and down, this hat makes me ridiculously cheerful and happy, because that pom-pom, I just want to throw pom-poms at people, unicorn pom-poms at people, because they'll laugh. They'll be happy.
True. Yeah.
Unless you catch a little bit of that fur in your eye, and then that's too bad on you.
Well, then you're going to get assault charges.
And while it's not quite as exciting, I realized, I finished 3 other things. I made 3 stacking pop-up containers.
They're very cute.
Those are cool.
Mm-hmm. And stash fabric.
That's awesome.
It's like, okay, this is fabric for, I took some of it from a fabric from a dress that I intended 3 years ago to make that I probably never going to make. Stash fabric from leftover fabric from a dress I did make, leftover bits and bobs, and it's got these like a giant spring that goes inside. They're fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's what I've completed.
Cool.
It's a pretty good list for December, especially.
Yeah.
Good job, guys.
Yeah. We should be proud of ourselves.
Yep.
Well, it is December.
Yeah.
Which means that, well, no, technically it's January.
You're listening to this
it's January.
We're living in the past in December.
Yes. So we wanted to take a little time to sort of do like a wrap up of our making lives in 2019. So I told Anne and Karin to think about maybe some of the favorite things that you've made this year, any trends that you saw in your making this year, or if you have any goals looking forward to 2020. Not, you don't have to have any goals, but if you do have a goal, tell us what it is. So, anybody want to start?
I got a good list.
Okay, good.
Anyway, from my point of view. Okay, I am going to compose a Make 9 for 2020, which, if you don't know about it, there is a post on its start, which I have bookmarked the person who originated it. But you may have noticed on Instagram, if you're on there, that people are posting these 3x3 squares of 9 things that they have maybe finished in 2019, or that they are planning to make for 2020. It's been going on for several years. The hashtag has been floating around for a long time. And I think it started in 2015. And there's an Instagram for it of Make 9 Challenge, MAKENINE Challenge. And she talks about, on December 8th, she put out there like when it started, December 2015, and what her motivation for creating it was. And it kind of, like, any good hashtag has taken Instagram by storm. So I'm going to put together a knit Make 9, so of 9 things I want to complete in the coming year, and a sewing Make 9. Some people mix them, and it's all kinds. It's what you want to do to grow yourself. And my main goal, which I'm trepidatious about saying out loud, I haven't said it out loud. So
I have one of those goals that I am afraid to say.
I tried to have a yarn diet, and I definitely bought more consciously this year. I don't think I met my standard, like my personal standard of what I wanted to do. So I'm going to turn it a little bit, and I'm going to ask myself to use from my stash first for the coming year. Because there are a lot of things I planned last year in 2019 that I never even did. So I'm sure I'm front loaded for probably all 9 in both categories. I think you guys have already kind of been leading the path on this, but I am definitely enjoying sewing from independent designers patterns, and I have a backlog of those and plenty of fabric to make lots of things, and I have plenty of knitting and crochet projects planned. Maybe I'll also make a crochet make 9. This is when I get over ambitious.
Yeah, I was
going
to say,
spoil it all. So maybe a yarn one and a sew one.
How about if you get through the first one, it's your carrot to do the next one.
Yeah, my 6-month make 9 check-in.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Don't make the next 9 till the first 9s.
Maybe. I think they have to run concurrently. Maybe the knit and the crochet are one and then the other, but the yarn and the sewing have to be concurrent.
Okay.
So trends that I noticed, I thought that was like a really good way to look back at your work. I definitely had a lot of sewing flurries this year. For a long time, I wasn't doing much sewing. And I think having the designated space here and the personal space to work in really changed my accessibility to getting stuff done. I really enjoyed the Sew Your View. I think I made probably 4 of the things. I bought the pattern.
Made more than that.
Well, I bought the pattern every time.
Okay.
I did the skirt that I love. I did a top. I did a jacket. I think the top was from last year. No.
Sure?
Yeah, the pants are just, I love.
I
just did that as a class.
Oh.
They're doing pajamas this time, but I already kind of have a favorite way to make pajamas. So. But I bought the pattern every time, and they were all great patterns. And the ones I made, I really liked. I either pushed myself to do something a little extra special, or I made multiples of. And there's a great dress. I think that was in May. Anyway, I really enjoyed that, and I loved watching it.
Cool.
And I feel a lot more motivated to take part in that slow fashion of really wearing what you make. So a lot of my work clothes are things I've made. I'm making more sweaters, so those go into my work wardrobe and day-to-day wardrobe. And the things I finished, my top things are the sweater crate, which I have completed 2 and have 2 more on the needles.
And of what you're wearing.
And I am wearing it right now. I'm wearing my blue and black one with the red highlights.
That might be my favorite one, actually.
I love this, and it's really good at work.
Because it goes with everything.
It's a sassy sweater, but the color palette works.
Yeah.
It's got that one little pop of red, but otherwise it's
quiet.
But it's all the different directions. It's amazing what you can do with that.
I'd like to make one. I keep thinking about a black and white one.
That would be awesome.
I want to do that.
Soldatna. Did I say it right this time? Okay. I finished the one. I haven't blocked it because I'm behind on blocking. I have 2 finished sweaters I haven't blocked. But I loved it, and I'm looking forward to the others that I have planned. I'm going to make 2 more. And I have colors, I've got the yarn, it's ready to go. And then I had this new experience that I'm sure I talked about before, but it's worth rehashing. I made a sweater that I thought I would love by a designer that I love. And I finished it, and I put it on, and I hated it. I normally have the experience, I see it, I envision what the finished thing will be, I execute that, and it's exactly how I imagined it. And I think that's years of garment making and knowing what I like. I put this on and I wanted to throw it. So then I made a different sweater from it. And I love it. And I wear it all the time. So the winning sweater is called Satawal. I don't remember who it's by, but I did just have it open. And
which one is that?
It's a cotton one that I've made. It's a little boat neck, it's aquas, and it's just a little cap shoulder with lace on top. And I it's very wearable. I can wear it to work. I can wear it casually around here, and it was an interesting experience though because I don't usually have that. I've been lucky enough to not have that, and it was a good breakthrough to empathize when people have that experience after they have made something and it's not want to throw it at the wall and stomp on it a few times. It's by Midori High Rose Satawal, and it's written for any gauge yarn. the thinner the yarn, you just get a lacier effect. And a lot of crochet. I've crocheted a lot, and I'm very excited about crocheting, and I've noticed that learners coming to us are also really excited about crochet, so it's an interesting trend.
This was a bigger year for crochet for me too.
Yeah.
So
cool.
That's me. I'm gonna make a stash goal. Whew.
Do you want us to keep you accountable? Do you want us to pretend like we didn't hear you?
Yes. Pretend like you didn't hear me.
Okay.
Because as soon as someone tells you, "Did you make your goal?" it makes you not want to make your goal.
Yeah.
I don't want to ruin that for you.
Thank you. Thank you for making this a safe place.
You're welcome. You just tell me what you want.
Thank you.
This is the thing about goals. They need to be things you set for yourself. And I hesitate to share them because if someone asks me, that's one thing, but I feel like as soon as I talk about it, I will talk myself out of it. Because then I don't want people to feel obligated or even feel encouraged to ask me, "Did you make that goal?" Because
we all are also counting on you to keep it safe for us. That if Anne mentioned it and she doesn't mention it again, don't bring it up.
Me,
she doesn't.
Please.
She knows.
I will report next December.
It's the golden rule.
Okay,
it's the golden rule.
Do as you would like done to you. So if you ask me about goals, I will make sure to ask you about yours.
And maybe you want to go at the pace because sometimes life happens, and you just
need some retail therapy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's
there are some things that I cannot make for the price that I'm paying for them, but then I may not pay for them because I realize,
Oh, I'm still going to buy clothes and stuff.
No, I will buy clothes, but there are some, and there's times where I need to be able to buy things, and I have to shop
to enhance
what I've got.
Like you have one ball of the perfect thing in your stash.
Or there's we don't have the budget to go to fancy places, and I don't know that I'd want to spend the money at those places. I feel sometimes guilty buying something that I know that the person who made it, who sewed that or made that, did not. That's a whole nother topic, but that we don't have to get into.
No, I feel you. I went into Forever 21 today. It's like that location's closing. There's 3 days left.
I'm glad they're closing. I'm sorry if you like them.
I've actually been boycotting Forever 21 for several years now, which is a little hard because they have cute random things.
But they don't pay their people.
They don't pay people, and they steal from designers. And the thing that broke my, straw that broke my back is, my back. I don't know why I'm saying that way. Is that they stole sweater designs from Native Canadians. And that I was done. It makes me sick to talk about it, actually, because there was great stuff, and Forever 21 shamelessly reproduced the exact
it's great
designs.
Stuff that belonged to somebody else. But anyway.
So who's next?
You want to go next?
Yeah, I'll go. Okay, so trends. I gotta say, I don't know if it's my age or just my brain cells, but I'm kind of oblivious to trends. I don't really, and I think I subconsciously keep from looking too much at trends because in my whole life, as soon as something was really popular, I lost all interest.
Same.
So I don't want to look at a trend because, and I'm not going to feel compelled to do it, and it turns me off from it. Having said that, I will discover a trend way past its due date. And like with TV programs.
I was into this after it was cool.
Yeah, is that like the new hipster thing?
I didn't discover Gilmore Girls
in millennial culture
till they were off the air.
They don't do that.
No. And I've been binging Glee.
Glee. Oh, I love you didn't watch Glee when it was new?
I had no idea. Well,
because it's up your alley.
It's me.
Yeah.
It was me in high school. Okay, but I don't control the TV in my house.
One day recently, I was here. Those choices. Last Wednesday, I was here, and when I walked in, I saw the light glowing from Katie's office, and so I was like, "Oh, Katie's here," but no one came out, and I had my happy little Wednesday night. What is that called? Drop in.
What is that thing I do?
And I heard this beautiful singing voice. The whole time I'm thinking Katie's in her office just doing her thing. It's cool. Sometimes I have to just be in my office and not say hi. And it wasn't until later when I was getting ready to leave and I turned lights out, I realized that the glow in your office was coming from Karin. Because I've been wow, Katie's
with the window.
Was I singing? That's right. I didn't know you were there.
Katie's singing voice is so beautiful. I mean, Karin has a beautiful
voice. It's really not.
I'm like, I'm not going to bring it up because I've never heard Katie sing. Maybe she's self-conscious about it.
You thought I was saying pretty?
I always think you sing beautifully.
Oh.
But I'm like, that's old news.
I thought it on I thought that got on people's nerves. So.
Oh, no.
No,
you
it's
have
my
a
humming.
Voice,
it's my humming.
And I don't. So I think it's great. But I thought Katie had a secret talent.
No, I do not. If I have a talent, I'll let you know about it.
That's good. That's how it should be.
Oh, okay.
Maybe I was a little mad too that you were just sitting.
That
I
was keeping it from you. Yeah. No, I'm not. I would let you know. Anyway.
So
no, it was just Karen's beautiful singing.
So thinking about 2019. It was about a year ago, well, January 5th is when I think at first, or maybe it was January 2nd, when the whole internet thing about
was it really that
disparity.
Early?
It was a year ago. It was in January.
Okay.
And it really is changed my worldview about things. It's not that it changed, it reawakened a view that I had from childhood and from early life that sort of got buried in being a mom and a wife and a Christian in a small, very tight homeschool community. And a lot of that love for, passion for social justice just got buried. And so I realized I didn't really follow regular trends because I really spent the whole year focusing more on social justice issues. And all those things that I said were a goal a year ago, barely touched. I was going to do more design work, but you know what?
Did.
I did at the end of the year. At the end of the year, we finally got together. But I don't feel bad for not doing those goals. I did the things that were important to do. Mm-hmm. I started doing work on me and my attitude about things, and checking myself, and considering other people, and really wanting to be more of a voice and speaking up when I hear something being said wrong, or surprise, shocker, we actually had conversations about, in my home, my mom-in-law is not alt-right, but she's kind of close there. And I was not alt-right, but I was very right. And
what's
now I'm more moderate.
Key? Is it control?
Yeah.
Function?
Tab.
So and I thought there's no way I'm going to have any of these kind of conversations with her, because she's of the opinion that the system is not broken because it's always served her. Mm-hmm. And so even having a conversation that was not heated, that was just a social justice issue, being able to have those while we're driving into town or just casually, it was just very refreshing that I never thought that she and I could have a conversation.
Great. That's so amazing to hear that it wasn't even, I mean, they always say,
I always felt kind of alone in my of the adults in my family, because my husband's much more right.
Growth in this global issue or national issue, like really rooted in your home, like that's so beautiful.
Because in past the attitude was, well, that's just how it is. That's how it has to be. And I was able to say over and over again, but gently, it's that way because nobody says otherwise. Mm-hmm. Things don't change unless we make them change, unless we keep calling them out. If you don't keep calling these things out that are wrong, and you just settle for the status quo, nothing's going to change.
But isn't that Gandhi's quote that, like, peace begins in your home? Mm-hmm. That's so cool.
And that's open conversations with my youngest son and I so it's been a very big personal growth. I still got lots of work to do. I don't think the work is ever going to be done, and I'm okay with that. So because of that, I read a whole lot more books this year too. So maybe I didn't make as many things, but the things that I made are more meaningful because they were personal growth things. So
the universe is processes, not things.
Yeah, that's right. So I was thinking about things that was a goal. So as soon as I make something a goal, it's the kiss of death that guarantees that it will not become a goal. But having said that,
don't have to have a goal.
No,
you don't have to speak it into the universe, Karin.
It's not a goal; it's a wish.
Okay.
So my wish to work that I will work on, because I have to rename, just like we have to call exercise something else before I'll enjoy it. Okay. I have to call it yoga because that's a good thing.
It's great when it is yoga.
And maybe it's me on the Wii Fit dancing or doing snowboarding, but
you still call it yoga?
Mommy's doing her yoga right now.
Okay, who am I kidding? That We Fit board has got so much dust on it.
Yeah,
it hasn't been touched in years.
Who's used their We Fit board in the last 10 years?
Hey, I only got it like 6 years ago.
Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
Anyway,
continue.
So
your wish is.
So my wish is I'm going to finish that work. The workbook. What was it called? See it? And she just published
White Supremacy.
The White Supremacy.
Me and White
workbook.
Supremacy.
Me and White Supremacy.
Yeah.
I've got one of the It's now actually fully published in a book.
Mm-hmm.
Which,
is it still free though?
It might be. I would assume she would probably still keep a free version. But I mean,
some people just want it's beautifully bound. I've seen
it's beautifully bound.
Yeah.
I printed mine out, and I put it in a 3-ring binder so I can work on it and add pages. So my goal is, my wish is at the beginning part of the year is actually to start that over again. So I start fresh with a different perspective. But I figured, I don't really know, maybe make 9 for me is make 9 new patterns for the year.
Okay.
At first I said, well, pattern a month, and already I'm like, that's not happening.
No.
But I think if a year from now I can say I made 9 patterns,
that would be awesome.
Wow,
that would be more than I've done in the last 5-6 years.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
So that would be my make 9 will be the make 9s that I make.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
You have to actually make them.
I can't wait. So exciting.
It helps that I've already got yarn coming for the first.
That's okay.
That's great.
Yeah, that counts.
Cool.
Fantastic. That makes me excited. I like the things you make and design.
Oh, thank you.
Katie.
Well, my trends that I saw in my making life this year is I finished 9 sweaters this year.
Wow.
Which is like unheard of for me. I finished 9 sweaters. Like adult, my size sweaters.
Yeah.
Which is a lot. So this was apparently the year of sweaters. I don't know how I did it. Some of them were already started, I think.
Still count.
Do you think that you got encouraged by that when you started going through and cleaning out your Ravelry faves and were focusing and rediscovering new ones?
Not necessarily. I think one of the reasons why that happened is one of the other trends this year is that I did a lot of test knitting. So I could count how many of those sweaters were test knits. I think at least 3 of them were. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think 4 of the 9 sweaters were test knits. So I finished 6th Street, which is a cardigan that I started like years ago, and I just had to like finish the button bands on. So I finished that in January. I made the Scrappy V, which was a test knit in all that koi goo. I knit the Ripple crop top worsted. That was a test knit. I made
Was that not twice in your most favorite?
Yes.
It was really cute.
It is cute. I haven't worn it, but it's cute. I made the Lovable sweater. That's that all lace pullover. I made the carved pullover, my pumpkin sweater.
That was so cute.
I knit 2 easy eyelet yoke pullovers, one for me and one that I gave to my sister. I knit my Christmas sweater and the cozy classic raglan, my pink fuzzy sweater. So those are the 9 sweaters, and 4 of them were test knits. So I think that was helpful in finishing, is that I had like a strict deadline for those because I wanted to be a good tester and finish them in time. But then that inspired me to realize like I could knit a sweater quicker than in my mind I thought I could. So my goal, that I'm speaking into the universe, but don't keep me accountable, is that I'd like to try and finish a sweater a month next year. I have about 4 or 5 sweaters in various stages of completion, and they are going to count. One needs like half a sleeve, but I'm going to finish it next year and call it maybe January. And I have a couple other sweaters that are in progress, but this year showed me that if I stay on this sweater making kick, which I still feel the draw to knit more sweaters for myself, then I should be able to do that. So that is one goal that I'd like to try and see if it's feasible for myself for 2020.
Very cool. You reminded me that
I might ask you to be my tester and I'll give you the yarn.
Last year I did a good push like into New Year's, and I finished I finished a sweater that was so fast and so chunky and so wonderful. And I finished like 3 sleeves or something.
Yeah.
I never finished my rug sweater. And it's really close to being finished. And I want to finish that. So I'm going to try to finish that this week.
I have that one sweater that needs like a sleeve. And I'm like, I could finish that and make it an even 10 for the year. But 9's a good number. No, 9 makes for a really great grid picture for my Instagram. It's a
good Instagram grid, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So that is it was the year of the sweater for me.
Very nice. Well, I wish you luck.
Thank you. I need it.
Don't we all?
I'm trying to keep it like casual for myself. I'm like, I'll see if I can do it. I got a lot that are already started. We'll see what happens.
What do you lose if you don't get it?
Yeah.
Most likely nothing.
I just hope that my sweater making kick continues because I have been wearing sweaters that I've made also a lot more this year than I have before.
That's because it's cold and I love it.
I like this weight has been perfect for all year. It's sport weight, and I the ones I finished in this weight because I fell in love with that yarn from Tuesday morning.
Yep, and you bought all of it.
Yes, again and again, and I was excited to find the Tuesday morning in Portland near my mother-in-law's house.
They have it.
They didn't have like much. Imagine that, a really cold place in the Pacific Northwest. Their yarn section in a discount place was picked over, but they have the exact same stuff. Yeah. I'm very curious about Tuesday morning distribution.
Yeah, that is interesting.
They had enough of the red, like they had red in this color, and that I'm wearing right now is my highlight color, but I don't want a red sweater. I can't really wear that to work. It's sort of, there's like colors that are sort of no-nos, and for whatever reason, red is kind of not great. Maybe it's just a little too eye-catching for professional.
Yeah, I can see that. That is a very red. Like, it's an orangey, like, fire engine red.
Yeah.
But that's what makes it pretty. It's a pop.
Oh, it works in this, yeah.
But a whole sweater would be a lot.
A whole sweater would be too much. And I don't know that this is a great red for me. It's like...
right.
Because it is a very orange red. It's not... Blue reds are better. Sweaters are great.
Yeah.
Oh, I went to Portland with all sweaters to wear each day for 4 days. And they were all store-bought sweaters.
Sad.
I'm ashamed.
I'm disappointed in you.
Sorry, guys.
You know, one of my favorite throw-on that I throw over my pajamas, I throw over everything every day, has turned out to be the Target sweater that I got earlier this year.
My favorite throw-on...
Not anything I made on, but...
My favorite throw-on sweater to go over my pajamas and whatever is my go-to raglan because it's so scrappy. It's also not really well fitted that I feel weird wearing it out of the house because it's like a little much, but it is so cozy. No. I could wear it here, but it's a little casual.
It's a little casual.
It's a little casual, but I do love it.
I don't understand what that means, so please, I'm not trying to be mean.
It looks scrappy.
It's very scrappy. But like
why
the
is
sleeves,
scrappy a bad thing?
It's not a bad thing.
Oh, okay.
The sweater itself is like, it could use, that sweater I wish was a little bit longer. Oh. And I wish the sleeves were a little bit fitted so it looks a little sloppy. Plus it being very scrappy, it's just a little, it's not exactly what I wanted it to be. I love that sweater. It's super cozy and I wear it more than any other sweater because I wear it almost every morning when it's cold. I just throw it over my pajamas.
I dug out my East Creek.
And I look like a
I forgot how much I love that East Creek sweater because that's the pullover. When I just want something with pockets, it's my Target sweater. But if I want something with pockets that's actually warm, it's called, I don't really feel like wearing a bra today, but I don't want it to look like I'm not wearing a bra. So I will throw over the sweater that totally covers it and I can be comfortable and still appropriate.
There you go.
I'm not saying that not wearing a bra is not appropriate. For me, I don't feel comfortable having only one layer of cloth between my
you in the world?
My girls in the world.
That's fine. Well, do we want to go real quick into what are we obsessed with?
Yes.
Okay,
I am obsessed with 2 shows.
Yeah.
Have I already shared that I'm obsessed with Black Sails?
No.
Okay. Black Sails is amazing. You can stream it on Stars.
Okay.
It's
pirates.
Yeah, it's pirates in like the early 1700s. It's kind of pre Outlander, and it's an uprising. It's pirate uprising against England, and it's really like the lead character is like I think he'd be a better Jamie than Sam Heughan. I'm sorry, from Outlander, because in the book he is described as having a little bit too long of a nose, and this guy has a better nose than Sam Heughan. Sorry, Sam Heughan. I know this hurt you.
Who is this person?
I don't remember. Really Toby something. I have to look it up. Yes, I'd be amazed. That would be amazing. All Scottish people knit, right? And
all of them. All of them.
Wow. Scottish people.
Yeah. We're not going there.
It's in the Outlander books. I don't have my phone, so I'm not sure. I'm gonna share this obsession next time. Toby Stevens, thank you.
Can I see a picture of him?
I don't know if that's a very illustrative picture.
Oh.
But he's a very handsome pirate.
I love a good nose on a man.
Yeah.
Like a big nose. So I can see that.
No. Yeah, this is a better nose.
Okay.
So you'd be like nose objective, right?
Yeah.
Sam Heughan has a perfect little cute nose.
Mm.
And he's perfectly symmetrical. And this gentleman is a little bit more...
piratey?
Less refined.
Yes.
Yeah. He's
rustic? Rugged?
No, he's an English nobleman. Like he's portraying an English nobleman.
Oh, okay.
And that he's doing that character to a T. But he just has a little.
He's got more character,
interest to his face. And I
like that.
I'm also we started Witcher.
Oh, James is obsessed with The Witcher.
It's so good.
It looks good. I just saw it like last week, but my current obsession is doesn't allow me to cheat on it.
I have a different obsession, but I'm still going to be obsessed with it next month.
Save it.
Because of my phone issue. I don't have it downloaded, so I can't tell you what it's properly called. And maybe by next time I will have executed trying it.
Okay. Leave us in suspense.
Dun, dun, dun.
So what are you obsessed with, Karin?
I'm obsessed with Glee.
Oh, yeah.
Well, two things.
That's a valid obsession.
I'm obsessed with Glee because it's like, that was me in high school.
Aww.
I was all into musicals, and I was geeky and nerdy and awkward, and I did not have people throw slushies in my face, which if you watch the show, the first season, you'll know what I'm talking about.
No spoilers, it's very old, so that was not
not spoiler. I had the other thing and I always obsess about a certain about one Broadway musical at a time.
Mm-hmm.
For the previous years, it was Hamilton. It's Hadestown. I absolutely
love that.
I love Hadestown. And now I bought the CD to give to my son. But here he has a digital. Oh. No, my husband gave it to me.
Oh, bless his heart.
At first I thought, oh my God, I opened someone else's present. No, it was mine. And so it's on my car.
What a good feeling.
And I cranked it up because I never crank up the radio.
Oh, I love
it. But I crank it up when no one's in there.
Can you remind me, because that was staged, Broadway staged already?
Yes. Okay, it was staged a while, like a decade ago. So
long ago?
It's been this is the new, slightly revised. Some of the way the songs are pretty much the same, but there's some lyrics that have changed. The cast has changed. The cast that's on Broadway is mostly the same people where it actually started in London with the London cast. If you're not familiar with it, it's the love story between Hades and Persephone, but also that are the gods, and the story of how insecurity in love. And then there's also the humans. There's the songwriter Orpheus and Eurydice. But it's set to New Orleans jazz.
Yeah, it's because I was excited about it the last time, but I forgot I loved it, and I heard you listening to it. I'm like, what is that? I love that.
Okay, so then I want to get a portable CD player, because you got your radio player, and I want to be able to play it in my office.
You're going to bring in the antiquated... You're going to bring in the antiquated musical technology of a boombox.
Yeah.
I have the antiquated musical technology.
My son has a boombox, but he's kind of using it for his radio.
I bet you could go on Amazon and get one for about $10.
Yep.
Yes. I probably could, because, it's old tech. But it's... Boombox. Boombox is going to take up too much of my creative space. I need something small and compact.
There was the cutest one at Target they used to sell that was like...
Look like an old-timey radio?
No. It looks like 1999. It looks like 1999. It was like a little, squished sphere that was maybe 12 inches across, and the CD player was on the top, and it had a tape deck and a radio. It was like the cutest, and you could get it in pink and purple and teal. I had a teal one. It's like, you need that one. It's so cute. And it had an AC.
Pink and teal.
Yeah.
How long
it
ago
looked
was
like a caboodle as a radio. 1999.
That sounds cute. Oh.
It would look cute next to your
caboodle.
What was the Apple computer? The I?
Yeah. I don't remember what it was called. That came in all the colors.
Yeah, that was so cute. iMac?
I don't know.
Whatever. It would look cute next to your 1999 Apple computer too.
I don't have an Apple.
That came in colors. I'm just
yeah. You're saying
I'm at my friend Heather's dorm room right now.
Oh.
Describing all the cute things in there.
So I'm obsessed with that, and it's I'm not just listening to the songs and singing along. I'm listening for specific parts. So I'm listening to the alto part of the three muses and backing it up so I can get those lower notes.
You've surpassed. Nope.
When
I
just
say like music
obsession, I need to be able to sing the parts.
That's good. That's beyond my skill set. Beyond.
Anywho,
because I also do not have a secret talent of music or
don't.
Nope.
I used to hate karaoke, but I realized the thing I hated about karaoke was because my own insecure in getting up and doing that, because I haven't done that in such a long time. But anyway, so
Katie,
I'm just gonna go with Star Wars in general. I saw the new movie twice.
Wow.
That
was my time.
Oh, interesting.
The time I boycotted my family going.
No, I've seen it twice.
How were your feelings?
I'm not going to go into it that much. Okay. Except that Star Wars means a great deal to me and my husband. And this movie was the wrap up to the whole Skywalker saga, 9 movies. And it was a lot. And I cried for about 2 hours straight watching it. Aww. And I had a really good time. Aww. So it was a good sort of, it was such a weird, because I have this thing where it's like when a new Star Wars movie would come out, I wouldn't watch the previews. I didn't know anything about it. Yeah. And I did that for this one too. And it's just it was like a really big emotional thing for me. And now that I've seen it twice, I would see it again. But the first time I felt like I left the movie theater, I was so dehydrated because I just cried forever. Mm-hmm. And then the second time, I only cried a little bit. But, yeah, I'm just going to go with Star Wars. And Mandalorian and the Star Wars universe right now.
My family had mixed feelings about
Everybody has mixed feelings about it. And I'm not going to get into it because we don't have time. But
details either. My son was
I could rant and rave for hours.
My son who's very dogmatic about his views on Star Wars was very upset by it. But he still went and saw it at El Capitan for his second showing. He went because he already bought the tickets and he felt a little differently. But the hardest part was the son who doesn't care about Star Wars was the most critical about the purity of it. And we're like you don't even like this, and why do you have an opinion?
I stayed at the house and finished The Cutest Pajamas in the World instead of going to the movie. Yeah,
I want to see
and my family had mixed feelings.
I want to see it for myself, but I haven't seen The Mandalorian yet.
I'll watch it when it's streaming.
Yeah,
maybe we'll have.
I'm biting my tongue.
That's fine.
Because I could talk forever.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, that was fun, guys.
Yeah. Thank you for another, a full year of podcasting. Yeah. We started it later in 2018, so thank you for all of 2019.
Yes, thank you for
listening. And 2020
listening.
will be more of the same, and we appreciate you all listening to us.
And don't forget that we do have a book podcast.
Oh, yeah.
So,
last one
was Where'd You Go, Bernadette?
Yep. Our new episode will be coming out in a couple weeks. Once this one goes live, it'll be mid-January. I don't know the date off the top of my head. But
Stay tuned.
Yes, we're doing Grapes of Wrath. So you have time to read that before, or listen to it I am before it comes out.
23-hour?
I don't know.
I started reading it, and now I switched to audiobook.
Yes. I'm on audiobook, and I need to get back to it.
I do like the voices on the audiobook.
I'm looking forward to that because you said it was good.
Yeah, it's really good. It's the way, and then, yeah.
Also, remember if you're listening to this, if you live locally, to come see us at the studio. We just worked on planning some events and stuff for the coming year. Mm-hmm. So pay attention to your email. If you get our emails, we send out a monthly newsletter at the beginning of every month that tells you what's going on. So there will be an event in January that we did last year, which is the Great Stash Swap Exchange. So look for all the info in your email about that. And other fun things. We've just got a whole batch of new classes coming out. If you don't live locally, tell your friends who do to come visit us. And I think that is all I have to say. So we'll see you guys in a month.
Yay.
Yay.
Bye, guys.
Bye.